Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I'd like to thank the member for Brighton Pavilion for bringing forward this very important, actually much under-discussed subject in the House. The United Kingdom is one of the world's most nature-depleted countries. Those are not my words, those are the words of Government Minister Lord Goldsmith. Research conducted by the Natural History Museum has revealed that when compared to our fellow G7 countries, the UK ranks at the very bottom in terms of biodiversity preservation. In fact, we find ourselves languishing in the bottom 10% of all countries. There will be people in this place today who have heard this statistic from me and others over and over again. So whilst I apologise, sound like a broken record, I want you to consider how serious a situation it is for our beloved natural environment. For nature to recover and thrive in the UK, we need to manage our land and ecosystems in a way that restores biodiversity and leaves room for nature. And part of that involves having a stronger connection to nature. Research shows that people with a strong connection to nature are more likely to behave positively towards the environment. Establishing a long-lasting connection between people and nature would play a crucial role in ensuring the conservation of precious wildlife habitats and species in the future. It's quite simple. The more people engage with nature, the more likely they are to protect it. The green space we currently have access to provides significant benefits, especially for our physical and mental health and well-being. Research suggests that access to nature saves the NHS approximately £110 million a year with fewer GP visits. This fact was starkly reinforced during the pandemic when many people gained a great appreciation of nature, green spaces and their local parks. The member for York Central was spot on when she talked about the EIP and the need for more ambition and also the lack of discussion of equality within the EIP. And she's also right to acknowledge Chris Smith's really important role in opening up access, which we need to expand and deliver much more access to nature on. The member for Wirral West rightly linked access and health and rightly reminded us of the Marmot Review and also of those great and brave pioneers who climbed Kinder Scout. I climbed there myself just after the pandemic restrictions were lifted. But accessible nature is distributed unfairly across England. In 2020, Friends of the Earth's Green Space Gap highlighted that 40% of people from ethnic minority backgrounds live in the most green space-deprived areas compared to 14% of white people. We had a great tour of constituencies and their surrounding areas on the other side of the House, Worcester, Gloucester, and maybe most expansively the Isle of Wight. And I know that the member of the Isle of Wight knows I lived there for a year, and I particularly remember the dark skies of the Isle of Wight and the ability to see such a beautiful starscape, which again was a recommendation of the Glover Review to give young people access to those dark skies. And he made some excellent points, which I'm sure we'll discuss in future. The government commissioned the Glover Review to assess the 70-year-old protections that led to the creation of England's national parks and areas of natural beauty. The review was clear in calling for a stronger focus on natural recovery and improving the status of national parks in the UK. It also called for greater access to our countryside, citing the barriers to access for children, minority ethnic groups and those living in the most deprived areas of England. It was a very comprehensive and important review. National parks were created in part to provide a healing space, both mentally and physically, for the men who'd given so much to protect our country during the Second World War. They are meant for everybody. The Glover Review recognised this, stating, and I quote, "It feels wrong that many parts of our most beautiful places are off limits to horse riders, water users, cavers, wild campers and so on. We hope the government will look seriously where the levels of open access we have in our most special places are adequate." Perhaps it's unsurprising, then, the government failed to address the adequacy of open access rights in their lacklustre response to the Glover Review, when their interests so closely align with those seeking to prevent it. The Minister will no doubt extol the virtues of the Environmental Improvement Plan, which promises to ensure everyone lives in a 15-minute walk of blue or green space. But there has been no detail on how this will be achieved. I hope the Minister will give us some of that detail today. Currently, nearly 2.8 million people in the UK live no more than 10 minutes walk from live more than 10 minutes walk from green space. So where's the roadmap to achieve that goal? Where is the roadmap to achieve 15-minute access? Mr. Deputy Speaker, we need a robust strategy that goes beyond the Conservatives' ambition for ambition's sake. That's why Labour will take tangible action to ensure every Briton is able to access the nature our country has to offer. We'll introduce a Right to Roam Act, a new law allowing national parks to adopt the right to wild camp, as well as expanding public access to woodlands and waterways. As the Shadow Secretary of State, my colleague, the Honourable Member for Oldham Western Royton, said, Labour will give the right to experience, the right to enjoy and the right to explore our countryside, as opposed to the current right to roam, which only gives people the right to pass through. Labour will improve the quality of our national parks, expand the areas of national parks, ANOBs and SSSIs that the public can experience, enjoy and explore. A Labour government will also ensure there is sufficient responsibility protection to manage and conserve our natural environment